Do you know this? You know we're doing a live recording of Come to Daddy in Melbourne?
I do know we're doing a live recording of Come to Daddy in Melbourne because Reuben splits his time between the UK and Australia.
Yeah, it really confuses Interpol.
Readers, listeners, dear readers.
Consumers?
Dear consumers, unfortunately, I don't get to go. He's touching me. He's touching me. I don't like it. He'll let go in. So I just get to sit in the lounge and edit this while you get to put your face on, go out and have fun and talk to people live about their adolescent trauma. So yeah, I won't be there.
It's really sad though. I would love you because we did a live record in Montreal for Just for Laughs.
I wasn't there either.
No, because it was in Canada. And I can't afford to fly Amanda, business class yet. We have a live recording of Come to Daddy at the Malthouse Theatre. I know you've never been, but the Malthouse is a beautiful theatre in Australia, in Melbourne. It was an old Malthouse, and it's now Australia's premier independent theatre. How do we wrap up that we have this live recording? Oh, for God's sake. The point is, listeners, watchers.
Consumers.
Why? Consumers. I don't like the fact that there are watchers for podcasts, which should be an auditory platform, but now we have to have visual.
It's a visual medium.
I know. It just means I've got to put the bulldog clip at the back of my neck to hold all the skin in now.
It's not just the back of the neck he's got a bulldog clip on, but the rest of it is for pleasure.
It's true.
Everybody, welcome to the Outdoor Malthouse stage. Are you ready for the live recording of Come to Daddy? Please welcome to the stage the beautiful Reuben K. Hello. All right, welcome to the Malthouse Outdoor stage and to a real proper live recording of this podcast. This is just something I made up in London when I thought the world was ending. And now, so glad we've moved on. Welcome. I do have to say, maybe not an apology, first of all, although there's so much to apologise for. I gave them a pre-show house mix of music, and I forgot to look at which one it was. And it was, in fact, the pre-show mix for my club night, The K-Hole. So if there were too many mentions about assholes, ketamine, fisting man areas, or swearing in that for 6:30 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon outside Melbourne's premier independent theatre, I'm so sorry. Welcome. I'm lovely to see that there's some people here with family. I think that's the perfect playlist to listen to with family. Of course, I would also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, the Bunurong and the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. Welcome to Come to Daddy. This is a podcast where I talk to comedians, celebrities about their upbringing. And it's the podcast for people who think holding space is the time between one top leaving and the other one arriving. I will say that my editor, Amanda Sangorski, will need me to do several different takes of jokes because she always wants a slightly cleaner version and a slightly dirtier one. So I'm going to do that same joke 4 different ways, and you're all going to laugh. Thank you. Welcome to Come to Daddy with Reuben K, the podcast where I talk to people of all different shapes and sizes and ages about their upbringing. It's the podcast for people who know it's someone's fault but don't want to start pointing fingers without a lawyer present. It's the podcast for people who love their parents but they love the liquid assets more. She'll probably use the third one. I'm not saying I've got daddy issues, but when a friend's dad asked me if I wanted to play catch in the backyard, I bent over. I'll just do another version of that, and I know she's not going to use it, but I really love this version of that. I'm not saying I've got daddy issues, but when a friend's dad asked me if I wanted to play catch in the backyard, I bent over and spat on my hand. I'm just letting her know that the dirtier one is funnier. And here's the clean one. I'm not saying I've got issues with my parents, but when my 6th grade teacher asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I said the Lindbergh baby. Thank you. Everyone who doesn't know what it is, Google it. It's very funny. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be able to do this and do this live in Melbourne. I know it is a scary time right now and there's so much going on, so I'm happy that you are using this podcast as a way of disassociating from our own IKEA flat pack apocalypse. It truly does mean the world. Amazing that you bought tickets as well, because the cost of living is rough out here. People can't afford to buy, can't afford to rent, can't afford to sell. Have you seen the cost of cocaine here? Fuck cost of living, I can't even afford to die. So what's going on? It's very difficult for me to read in any case, but to do it now is an interesting one. So what's going on with the Come to Daddy podcast? I'm welcoming not one traumatised teenager, but 3, in spirit. I did a live show last year with Ursula Carlson, so this is our second live show. So please like, subscribe, follow, download the rest of the Come to Daddy podcast. This is our 3rd series of the pod now. Apart from tonight's guests, we've had some great names share their childhood trauma. Maisie Adams, Rosie Jones, Gabby Roslin, Desiree Birch, Larry Dean, Daniel Sloss. The list is almost endless. And I couldn't do it without the help of my brilliant producer, Amanda Sangorski, who is in London because it's very, very costly to fly people over. She would love to be here, but she can't be. So if you could all just give a big hi, Amanda, out to her. I won't tell you did that. And so let's get into it. My guests tonight are 3 incredibly diverse and brilliant people, and I'm thrilled to have them on the couches here tonight. First up, please welcome a firebrand in the world of comedy, the incredible Frankie McNair. Following it up, all the way from the country, it's the brilliant Zoe Coombs, Marr. And straight from the block, from the world of design, the incredible Shaynna Blaze. Oh my God, she looks fab. Could you please not destroy the set as you walk in? Welcome, thanks for coming on board.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
It's a bloody bevy and a bit of joy.
It's not every day you get to do a podcast with a reference to the Lindbergh baby.
I'm current. That's what I am.
We're beaming this podcast from 1941.
All of my references from 1941, as we call them, the good years. Hey, welcome to the podcast about your parents. Frankie McNair, I'm going to start with you. You're closest to me.
I know. I feel like I'm being interrogated, but that's probably just because I'm nervous to speak about my mum, but that's all right.
Why are you nervous to speak about Mum?
Because she will bring it up.
Oh, will she listen to this?
Yes.
Is she a fan?
She Googles my name. A fan of me. Sorry, Reuben. I'm so sorry.
Goodbye.
No.
I once told my mum I Googled myself and she said, I hope you used a good lubricant. That's a real story about my mother. Doesn't everything come clear? Well, not always.
I reckon that's a problem if it's clear.
Oh, yeah. I'm way too hydrated. That's what it's saying. Lean off the Gatorade. So your mum's going to listen to this.
Yes.
And she's going to criticise you. I'm guessing.
She won't criticise, but she will just go...
I jumped to criticism. How quick is Mark?
Let's talk about you now, Reuben.
Just an excuse for therapy for me.
Yeah,
what does she say?
She won't criticise. She'll go, did you have to bring it up? That's what she'll do.
What's the it?
Just anything I say, it'll be it. Did you have to bring it up? Did you have to say that?
I thought maybe that's what she thought your pronouns were.
Yeah, it and gremlin.
That's why we don't feed you after midnight and I'm moving the water away. Hey, Zoe.
Hey, Reuben.
How are you doing?
I'm all right.
It's a cute little romper you've got there.
Thank you.
Look at that. It's so patriotic and Australian and bush.
Yeah.
Was that a metaphor? Was that leading in?
What, are you trying to make me... are you trying to feed me a lesbian joke?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the bush. What a great presidency. Both of them.
Do you reckon your parents will listen to this?
Nah.
Are they fans of the work?
Of yours?
Me, yes.
No, I don't think my parents know who you are, Reuben.
That's the most hurtful thing anyone's ever said to me.
I know, I'm so
and
sorry.
I fell asleep at a bus stop once.
My parents, they might, but probably not. Probably they're not. I think it's technologically. I don't think they listen to podcasts.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it wouldn't.
How are they with?
Be a lot of iPhone banging and.
Fair play. Not exactly up on the tech. Luddites?
No, not really. I mean, they're old.
Yeah. Do they live at a windmill? Are they on like?
Yes, they live in a windmill.
Bronze Age.
They live in the Bronze Age. They've got a donkey that does. It's like it goes around in a circle, and that's my uncle. And yeah, just milling away. They've got so much flour. That's my inheritance. Where are we going with this? My parents will probably not listen to this, but they are fans of mine. Probably too much. They're very supportive.
That's lovely.
I think too supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recently, we were doing a jigsaw at Christmas time, and my partner pointed out that my mum kept complimenting us on myself and my sisters on like how well we were doing the jigsaw. Like, she's like, look at you. You are just sorting that so well, so. Look, you've got all the edges. She's very supportive.
I would find that so overbearing.
It's a lot. Yeah,
that's
it's a
beautiful.
lot. Yeah.
Hey, Shaynna, thank you for coming on board.
Pleasure. I'm not in the comedian bank here, so that's why I had to bring a jacket, so at least I had something.
Oh, yeah, she brought the design, though.
I brought the design.
She brought the design. Do you think your family is going to do you think they'll listen to this? Are they involved in the career? Do they listen and watch?
Well, my parents won't, unless you've got a line to God.
Sure,
so that's
which
not gonna happen.
I do. And he is not happy with me.
Oh!
Well, you said those things about his son on the project.
Yeah, but I've said a lot of things about a lot of people's son, and they're all true as well. But so I'm guessing it's kids and grandkids.
Kids, yeah. Well, my kids probably won't, because I think they just get bored of all the stuff that I do, and it's to like, well, what are you doing now? They don't really ask. And but it's my granddaughter who now, like, I was on a little show called Masked Singer last year, and they kept her up to watch the reveal because they didn't know I was on it, and but they were quite sure it was me, and so they kept her awake. She was 3, and so now she just asks, "Can I watch?" Because she calls me Gigi, because that other G word, can't say. Yeah. I have grandchildren. I'm not a grand.
Fair.
So I'm Gigi. So she asked to watch me as the octopus. So I reckon my granddaughter will listen to this, but I don't know about these jokes, how they're going to go down.
If she gets them, then your kids have raised her badly.
Yeah. Could be part of what's happening.
Hey, we love to talk about parenting. This really started because I love my parents, but I see a lot of them in what I do. And it's that interesting thing with kids, I think, where you use your point of difference from your parents to help you define your own identity, but then you are continually running from something that's always catching up with you. I come up with my mum's delivery in comedy or movements of my hands. I go, oh, that's how Dad used to move his hand. I'm never going to escape the womb, even though I'm using the umbilical cord as a feather boa most of the time. How do you feel? Do you find parts of your parents come through in your act or in your writing?
I think in the post or the just before getting up on stage panic, I feel like that's definitely Mum.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
How
just very anxious, and then just like really, really anxious, but then as soon as she starts talking to someone, she's completely fine, but just like very, very socially anxious, and I feel like that's how it comes out for me.
Was she quite anxious in your childhood?
Yeah. We were very much like, we would like step outside and she was like, be careful. So I'm fine now.
Yeah, you seem it.
Yeah, thank you.
You seem really nice. Hey, tell me about your childhood bedroom. I want to get a picture of this, because I've met you tons of times. We hang out all the time, but we don't know each other.
I don't know anything about you.
No, and I lie a lot. It's what was your childhood bedroom like? Give me a picture.
So I grew up in Canberra.
I'm so sorry.
It's actually it's God's roundabout there, all right? It's beautiful. But I moved around heaps. But when I think of my childhood, I think of a townhouse that I grew up in, and it was a double-story, teeny tiny room that had a single bed that had like a golden like old school frame, and then there was walk in.
Like you mean like a metal
Yeah, like the
brassy gold.
Yeah, it had that and single bed, and then it just had a like
shabby chic, Shaynna, I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm hearing a bit of Laura Ashley in there.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. She's gonna be so fucking thrilled you said that. She'd be like, oh my god, what else did she say about me? And then it was
said it.
Yeah. It. She liked it. And then I just had just toys everywhere on the floor, and that was it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What kind of toy? What are we talking?
We're talking...
Because toys can mean many things to many people. So...
Okay, well, I was a child.
Hey. I didn't say that.
I had the Barbie rollerblades, not roller skates. It's a whole thing. We won't go into it. I had like 3 of my favourite stuffed bears. I had so many Barbies, and I just used to cut their hair all the time. I am bisexual. I don't know if those two things are related. Probably yes. And Duplo, not Lego.
Oh. I had a lot of Lego, but I think it's just because I was a masochist and was like, I'll just walk on this instead of talking to people.
Just lying on it like one of the spiky spine mats.
Oh, yeah, this is helping my acupressure points. No, I had a lot of Barbies. And I used to reenact the end of Tosca by throwing them off the edge of my bunk bed. But I would tie little bags of Ribena to them and hide them in the folds of making them costumes so that when they fell on the ground, there'd be like a blood splatter. Now I'm saying this, I don't sound healthy. But apart from that, I also had like all of the He-Man and all of the G.I. Joes. Anything where there was an action man, preferably topless,
yeah.
I had it. And my parents were like, it was such a shock.
I feel like the Tosca bit is the gayest part of that story.
What about your bedroom, Bub?
Well, it was at
Bub. Where did that come from?
It was in the top of the windmill, so it was like the pointy bit, thatched roof, like a hay stuffed mattress. I shared it with the donkey, and
how did the donkey get up the stairs?
It was very good. It was one of those Mexican climbing donkeys. I don't know when this turned into some sort of absurd improvised storytelling, but I'm on a different podcast to everyone else. It feels like. No, my childhood bedroom was pretty normal. I think, although I had like a lot of like wooden blocks and rag dolls. Not a lot of plastic toys or commercial toys.
Because you were Amish?
Yeah. Well, the windmill. No, my parents were and this changed. I was the oldest. I still am. But my parents were very sort of like intentional with their parenting with me. My mum was quite like a hippie, and it was all about like environmental sort of stuff. Barbie, absolutely not. I never had a Barbie.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, but I wanted all those things. I wanted like Barbies and Cabbage Patch dolls and things like that. Never ever had them. So, but now with my younger sisters, they started getting those things because my parents got a bit more lax. And then my nieces, like they've got everything now, and my mum buys it all for them. Like they bought a Barbie dream house and stuff. I'm like, who are you, Linda?
Yeah, you've changed, Linda.
Yeah, it was very like anti-feminist Barbie.
So
stuff.
it's Linda and
Peter.
Linda and Peter?
Linda Coombs and Peter Marr. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Shaynna's not Peter Coombs. I always thought it was going to be Peter Coombs.
No. People at school, though, used to ask me all the time, is Peter Coombs your dad? Is your dad Peter Coombs? I mean, no, he's Peter Marr.
Great
okay,
story.
Wow. You guys really just...
They're mainly here for me.
Yeah. You all went to a real dark place just then. Wow, okay.
I didn't even clock Frankie. Mum's name?
Morag.
No.
The most Scottish name in the world.
Parented you bare-breasted on a windy heath somewhere.
Morag McNair.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Flaming natural red hair? Like yours?
This is obviously incredibly natural, but for some reason she's brunette. But move on.
Shaynna, what was your... Can I, first off, I was going to ask about design notes, but top of a windmill, what can you do with it? What was your...
I have done a windmill.
Of course you have.
I have done a windmill. If there's any avid selling houses fans, I have done a bloody windmill.
And you know what? Linda and Peter loved it.
And you know what? There was a donkey there too. Yeah. It was called Andrew Winter.
Hey, what was your childhood bedroom like?
Well, I've got to say, I had no bloody toys. I had a whole different childhood. I was sitting here thinking, did I have a toy? I didn't have any toys because I was in that generation where you were always outside. So we had a ping pong table, we had a billiard table, we had a swimming pool, and then you were locked out from 8 till you had to come back for dinner, and that was it. So you had to explore. So, we lived in orchards and there was horses, and then we'd take our bikes and we'd be going down hills, and I remember it would have been about 8.
What in the Enid fucking Blyton
Pretty much.
life did you lead?
Pretty much. I remember going over the handlebars of the bike and the wheel completely twisted, and I only had a bigger brother and all the boys in the street, so there was no girls. And so it was like, well, get yourself home. Yeah. And I literally was like that, that ad, the very old ad you may not know, where, little Johnny comes marching home, and I'm literally crying all the way home with my bike. And I got told off for breaking my bike. There was just, so it was different.
Yeah, it was tough love, which we now call
I don't remember a toy, but we
negligent.
did have jigsaws. We did have jigsaws.
And I bet you were so good at them.
No, shit.
Really?
No, I had no patience.
Fair.
Yeah. You have to, people just get all the corners, and then you've got to get the edges, and I'm like,
Which you did
no,
so well.
Well. I'm
I
really
would
good
have
at
been
it.
proud of you, but I would have been, show off.
Knocking the table.
What are your parents' names?
Oh, these are great ones. So Annette is the one, and Basil.
Oh, Basil.
Are they, you were talking Basil Fawlty before.
Oh, yeah,
My
absolutely.
Dad,
Can we
my
just-
dad was Basil.
Just as a sideline, Zoe, you have to... I find this so odd.
The faulty. Okay. Well, we were just talking backstage about how why did we even talk? Oh, you went to a restaurant. The service was bad, and I asked if you'd been to the Fawlty Towers dining experience. But my parents used to run a restaurant in Sydney, and it was in Ferry Bower in Manly, and it was named after it was called the Ferry Bower Tea House when they first had it, but then eventually it got the name Fawlty Bowers because apparently my dad used to do a great Basil Fawlty impression on the answering machine. And I've always just gone yeah, that's the story that I've been told. But I realised recently I've never heard my dad do a Basil Fawlty impression. So I think it's maybe just some sort of lie that's just exists. He's just pretending to have had a good impression of someone in the past. Anyway, so if you're listening, Dad, I'm on to you.
But also, he also would tell people that he didn't tell people you were artsy or into anything. What did he tell people?
My dad used to, he might still tell people this, he tells people that I'm in dentistry. And it's not because he's ashamed or anything, I think he just thinks it's funny. Just to be what does Zoe do? Dentistry, she's in dentistry. And even now he probably does, but people will be how's Zoe going with the comedy? And he'd be oh no, she's in dentistry now.
But is that because you make everyone laugh and shows everyone your teeth? He's in dentistry because everyone shows their teeth when they laugh with you.
I don't think it's as deep as that. I think he's just imagine if Zoe was a dentist. Oh!
So, Shaynna, Basil and, remind me.
Annette.
And
Yeah.
you've said that they're the inspo for the design career.
Well, okay. So the inspo for the design career was the fact that I lived in a house with zero design. And there was no choice. My dad was very crafty and did lots of stuff. My mum had zero interest other than Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless, and there was another one as well.
Passions?
Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh, there's a Passions fan right there.
I think it was the Mike Walsh show at the same time. So that was Mum's interest. But Dad, he used to do the bathroom, so he'd take me to the tile shop. He'd take me to the place to go pick the taps, pick the tiles. So I'd go pick the carpet with him and all that sort of thing. So that's where that came from.
That's lovely.
But if you saw our house, nothing matched, nothing. My dad was okay, we're going to get carpet today. And he would take me to the carpet shopping, and I'd go, Mum and Dad, that's just the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And my dad goes, it's lots of colour. And you would have 25 little threads. And it was horrendous because it wasn't going to show the dirt.
Oh, yes. Yes, same for my bed sheets.
Yeah, nice. A few marks in there, I reckon. But no, my design career is in spite. Like my dad's hands-on and practicality.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't inspired, it was in spite. It was a
In
typo
spite.
here. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
in spite of. Yeah. Well, I think the thing is also that because Dad would allow me to go do all these sorts of things, and his really great quote to me is like, if you want to do something to your bedroom, not a problem. You pay for it, you do it, and you fix it if it's wrong. And so I think, oh, of course, not thinking that he really meant it. And so, yeah, that's what I remember, ripping up the carpet because I wanted floorboards. So I ripped up the carpet. There were just white walls, so I thought I would put alfoil on the walls because it was very futuristic. So I had, like, craft glue. Yeah, true story.
Did you have a matching tinfoil hat as well?
Pretty
A
much.
lot of red
You're like-
thread just going through.
So I
5G.
put tinfoil, and then a lady across the road had an Art Nouveau poster book. So I splattered Art Nouveau on there, thinking it was very classy. I think I'm 12. And Venetians at that time were metal. They were metal Venetians, and it was south-facing.
Oh,
So I learnt practicality at 12. You don't put foil on your walls. You don't rip up the carpet when you have metal Venetians.
It would have looked like a
And-
baked potato.
Well, no, it was very classy.
I think it sounds cool.
It was very classy,
No, I mean,
but
you
I
sort of-
shivered. I absolutely shivered every day.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Because I've been in London, south facing means sun.
No, it was, yeah.
Sorry, I travel.
Oh,
Too
in London.
Sorry, I've been in London. Shut up.
How dare you? How dare you?
up.
No, you shut up. Can you feel the sexual tension? There isn't any.
It's lovely to be here.
What were you, apart from negligent, which we said, what do you think your parents' parenting styles were with you?
Look, I have to say on that part, it was a little bit negligent, but that was the 60s and 70s. It was just like, go out and do your stuff. And my brother
Yeah.
and I said we just winged it. Like there was no guidance. But I have to say their parenting style was love. There was not one day, that's because of the jigsaw land, there was not one day where we didn't feel loved. We always knew that we had a meal. We always knew that we would come home. We would never be berated. Like there was no raised voices in our house. So we lived in the house of silence. So if you got in trouble, it was really handy because you got ignored. So that was wonderful.
Lovely.
So you never got yelled at. It was awesome.
That's like my worst. The idea of punishing by silence is like my worst nightmare. I remember once I fucked up. My mum sent me to tap lessons, and shock, and I missed the first tap lesson because I got the wrong tram at like 12 or something. And I was so nervous and crying, and by the time I got to the tap lesson, they were already like 45 minutes in, and I couldn't jump in, so I just left. And I didn't go. And I came back home and I lied and said, I went, it was fine. And then the next week, I thought, I've missed one, I can't just go in second class. And so I didn't go. And I stayed in the city and I spent the $15 that Mum gave me for the tap lesson, came back and lied again. And 4 months later, I came home and my mum was like, I'm filling out this application and they want to talk to you. Can I get your tap teacher's name for a reference for this thing? And I was like, I have to fess up. And Mum's like, so hang on, you've lied to me for this much and you've spent the money. And she didn't speak to me, I think, for 2 weeks. Oh. And there's still, the silence of a parent in a consistent silence I still feel it now. Maybe that's why I'm afraid of silence. Maybe that's why I'm doing this.
I have to say, that would be it, because all my school reports were if she stopped talking, she would get a lot of work done.
Same.
And it's because no one spoke at home. So I thought, well, I've got the room. I'll keep talking. I remember once when my dad wasn't speaking to me, and I think I missed curfew or something like that, and we're in the kitchen and I'm making toast and a cup of tea or something like that, and no one's talking to me. So I'm actually telling everybody, so the toast is popping up. Oh, it's a perfect brown right now, and I think I'll have Vegemite today. So I did this whole scenario of me in the kitchen and no one spoke to me, and I just went to my room and I went, So it was great. It was really good. So I learned to speak.
Can you
and
imagine how
do
mad you
things
must
and-
think your child is if they just walked in and narrated their entire day and process. I'm going to get the toaster. I'm going to cut it up. I'm going to put Vegemite on it. I'm going to put it in the toaster. I'm going to take this. I'm going to go to my room. Everything's fine. Slam door.
Yeah, this is why I don't have kids. It's shit like that. You never know. You're going to make some little psychopath. One day you're in your own house.
Yeah.
And that happens.
It does. It does.
And you're paying for their stuff as well.
You know what? The best revenge of a mother is for your child to have a daughter. Best revenge ever.
I don't know. My stepmom's not going to listen to this. My mum, my stepsister's not going to listen to this. But my stepmom had a stepdaughter, and they used to fight tooth and nail. And then my stepsister had a daughter, and my stepmom was like, serves you right. I was like, I can't wait for her to turn out and treat you like you treated me. The schadenfreude in it was visceral. Oh God, I hope she doesn't listen to this. What was your parents' parenting style? Or was there like a signature punishment method like silence?
No, I mean, parenting style, they were pretty strict. Like it was quite disciplined, strict sort of stuff, but also very loving and fun as well. It was just like, but I think my parents were very conscious, and I think I would be absolutely the same. I think they were just like very conscious of not wanting us to be assholes. Like just being like, don't turn out like I remember my mum saying to me once, if you keep acting like that, no one will want to be around you. And I have just never forgotten. It was like the most effective kind of thing. And so I think it was very like, you know, and there were lots of rules and things of like the way that you behaved and stuff. And sometimes that was quite stressful as a little kid. But also I have a great relationship with them. I feel very lucky. Though it was never about like who you were or how you were. It was about how you behaved and how you treated other people and like don't be annoying and like all of those sorts of things. It was just like, you're being annoying, stop that. And you'd go, oh yeah, I am being annoying. Okay. Yeah.
Frankie, did your parents ever tell you don't be annoying?
My great aunt did once. So I grew up with my mum, and she was like single mum, nurse, worked night shifts. Like we were raised by like TV and frozen McCain lasagna, which
the
is
best parents.
It's beautiful. It's like an Italian zupa duper. I love it. Yum yum. But like, so she was just tired and busy, and so like we kind of just like walked all over her a bit because she was just too tired. But then my great aunt, who I used to spend like a lot of time with, there were like fireworks one night, and I was just like very audibly like, wow, amazing. Like anytime they went off, I was just being fucking annoying. Like I just wanted attention, and I was like, it's so beautiful, everyone. And she just came up to me and she was just like, don't. Stop that. Keep it down. People are trying to enjoy themselves. This is not about you. And I was like, what?
The worst thing a parent can say to anyone like us is, this isn't about you. Because also the entirety of your existence has been predicated on the point that it is all about you. And they've reinforced that by being your parents and always being around you. And when they said it to me, I was like, that feels like even you don't believe that.
I feel like that's the sort of thing that I feel like we could say. I can't because I don't have kids, but people could say that to kids. There are kids that are around that you could say that to.
Right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you see it all the time. You're like, can someone do something about this?
Yeah.
Come on. I'm like, this is not my remit.
Someone should just a quick sharp
quick
lesson.
little ego check as well.
But I think that there's nothing like more that will actually like put you in like a shock as a kid is if you get told off by someone who's not your parent.
Yeah.
If it's just like someone says something to you in like the mall, they just go, can you please stop that? And you're a kid and you're like, I don't know what you're going to do, actually. That is scary. No, I'm good.
Did you give your kids ego checks?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. Because my son played like football and basketball, and sort of their dad's side of the family had lots of egos. Mm-hmm. And so I could see that coming out in him. And I remember he would have been, I'm not joking, probably 6. and he was having a tantrum on the court. So I said to the coach, pull him off. He's not playing. Get him off. And the young kid is like 18, coaching us all. I said, yes, you can. Get him off now. I'm going to walk on this basketball court and I'm going to take him off. And so he took him off and he's sitting there and he's blah, blah, blah. I said, you have that attitude and you're not playing what you love. You don't do that. And so he learnt really quickly. So it didn't take long. But, I know those kids you want to point to and go...
Yeah, because I'm like, have you met people? Like, a lot of them suck. And we've got to be... like in the world with them. So I see like an annoying kid and I'm like, you're just going to be an annoying adult who's going to end up like probably like, I don't know, my producer on a television show or something, and I'll have to deal with you and and it'll be too late then.
But I think it comes from love in the fact of like, so you don't want, your mum saying to you, you don't want to be an annoying child, you're going to be on your own. It is out of love because it's that discipline and it's boundaries. And I think, the reason I was actually a really strict mum is that we grew up with no boundaries. And it was just like that free 60s, 70s time where you just go out and everyone was safe and you could ride a bike and you could stay out there in dark and you could go star watch and, you're 8 years old walking around the streets and it's just normal. But you have to have boundaries now, and I think that's how you get your ego in check, is when you grow up and you have boundaries and you know how far you can go and you can pull yourself back. I think that's the biggest thing.
What was home like when you were like raising your first kid early on? Were you designing then?
Yeah. So I was pregnant with my daughter and I had my own design business, and I remember, and it was the time where there was no women on building sites at that time. So I felt like I was one of the guys anyway. So it was just not this thing. And I thought, I won't tell anyone I'm pregnant. We'll just, move on. And so my clothes just got bigger and the shoulder pads got wider. So you could sort of balance
like Elaine and Seinfeld.
Balance out the belly. And so I remember like we had this one job and the guy said to me, oh, look, it's been delayed by a month. We can't do the opening till this date. And I'm like, oh, thank God, that's going to be so good for the baby. And he's like, baby? What baby? And I go, the one I'm about to have. And he goes,
how pregnant were you?
I had 2 weeks to go.
What a testament to men's observational skills.
No, and I just said, oh, you just thought I got fat, didn't you? So,
but you can never ask someone, even if they're unless there's like
a baby coming out of them,
giving birth. You can't say, are you pregnant or when are you due? Because you don't know.
But in those days, people did. Like, we're talking late 80s. Like, people didn't care. It was like, oh, when's the baby coming? And it's like, oh, I'm not pregnant. But I actually was. So I took Carly on building sites when she was like 2 weeks old. And then when I was pregnant with Jess, he came 2 days early and I hadn't done all the final submission. So I'm in the hospital with the plans, just finishing off submissions. So yeah, I was designing when I had my kid.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
But then you were raising the first one as a single mum while also...
Both of them
as a singer as well?
Yeah.
So you were running from a building site to... This is so camp. Running from a building site to a gig?
No, I stopped design when my youngest was 2.
Right.
Because it was just too hard as a single mum to have 2 kids design. You had to be all over the country, just couldn't do it. So I had really great parents, and just as much as, mum and dad just let us wing it, I couldn't have done what I've done if they weren't there to look after the kids. So I went back to singing so that the babysitting would be at night. So I would get them to bed, mum and dad would be there, and then I would get home at like 2 a.m, and then I'm there when they're awake. So there was a lot of story time like this because I lost my voice so many times.
Amazing.
That's maybe one of the only stories I've ever heard where like showbiz is the more practical job.
It was. It didn't make me much money. Like, we made all our own clothes. Like, I sewed everything. But it was the way I could be there during the day when my kids were awake.
Can I ask, do your kids like work in design or on building sites or anything at all now? Or are they into that stuff?
No, they didn't go for anything in design, but they're both in the TV industry. So they're behind the scenes. My daughter's an editor and my son's a sound recordist. But they also like direct and wrote a movie, and, we created a movie as a family. So... yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love a showbiz dynasty. Do they?
Because you're from one.
Exactly.
I am, but I have a very conflicted relationship, and I tell my parents this all the time because they always want to show their love by being useful and having notes and being constructive. And I have such a big boundary of taking that as criticism. And it's so interesting, isn't it, when a parent wants to show love, but it's like, I said this backstage, I phrased it really nicely, and I'm going to butcher it now. It's a child's prerogative to misconstrue their parents' love as criticism of their own identity. How many times, I don't know how many parents are in here, I'm seeing a few, and there's that thing going, oh, I said this because I love them, and they went, fuck you, mum, I'm my own person, or the equivalent of. Or when your parents tried to say something nice to you, and you've gone, raw, leave me alone.
I was always. I
Always?
remember because I wasn't very good at school. Like, I'm like dyslexic and had like undiagnosed ADHD, and like I just like couldn't read for ages. I could remember everything that, like, if we were reading a book in class and we had to read it at home, I could remember the same way the teacher had read it, but I couldn't actually read the words or anything.
Like it was lines in a script.
Yeah, like it was like lines, and I would read it like that, but then I would also look at the book and go, and you can just colour that one in if you want to. And then Mum was just like, what the fuck? But one time I read, the first time I ever did an audition at school, and I spent ages like learning this monologue, and then I did it for my mum, and she went, that was amazing. See, if you could put the same effort into maths, then... And like, she was like saying she was really impressed, but all I heard was maths. Yeah. Do maths, dumb girl. Learn to do maths. And I was just like, you have to leave now. But
how do you feel about setting boundaries now with parents? Have you gotten better at it?
I think I have, but like, if I spend more than 3 days with my mum, I regress so hard. Like, I don't want to, but like, I just like lie down and I'm just like, Mum, don't breathe so hard. Like, I was a nightmare. But I feel like we're much better at it now. Like, we'll be like in the car and then like she'll just like be like making a noise and I'm like, hey, Mum, I feel that I would really love if you could maybe stop doing that, but also you are your own person and you've done such a good job.
And you're really good at corners. Look at how you're getting the edges.
And you're getting on the edge of the corners. And that's what I would like. What would you like? And Mum's just like, what are you talking about? And we love her. We love Morag.
It's wild how you regress, isn't it? Like,
it's so embarrassing.
It's so, I can feel myself slipping and it happens so quickly, but it'll just be like, sometimes you can hold it in, not say it out loud, but it'll just be like, would you like it? Do you want a coffee, Zoe? I'll be like, oh, God, why do you have to know everything about my life?
I've done so much therapy. And in just 3 days, I'm just like, what happened? I get back to Melbourne, I'm like, where did I go?
My dad was...
Let me leave! Yeah,
my dad was super non-confrontational and he couldn't deal with raised voices. Couldn't do that. And if you can imagine, very confrontational and very loud. And he would get so stressed. And during the divorce, I had a lot of aggression that I didn't see as aggression, but looking back, I see as aggression. And he would start every sentence with me with, okay, well, if we could all just relax. Like, okay, if we could just calm down.
Wow.
And you feel it right now. Everyone just goes, and then one day, in a spectacular moment of planning, went, fuck you, I'm going to start every sentence with, if we relax, if we just calm down. And because it was custody at that time, so I went over to his place for the weekend, and I started every sentence with, great, so if we just relax. And he'd be like, have you got all your bags? Okay, if we all just calm down, I can. And I felt it going, it's like, okay, Reuben, we're just going to see if, are you hungry? I'm like, I just need, okay, a moment, if you would just relax. And I think it took 2.5 hours from the drive from Mum's place to his, to unpacking to dinner before he lost his shit and screamed, "If you tell me to calm down one more time!" I was like, well, you don't seem very calm.
Again, this is why I don't have kids.
Reuben, I would have pulled you off that basketball court.
I would never be on a basketball court.
Oh, you would if you had like high knees, like socks and like little
The
shorty
phrase
shorts.
"nothing but
You
net"
would.
is about the stocking or the asshole.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, but I want them to get the ball in. That's what I want.
Slam dunk.
Hey, the other part of, I guess, parenting from people who have a relationship with their parents, and you have a relationship with your parents, but now you have a relationship to your kids as parents. What's like a snapshot of that? I know it's a really complex question, but like...
Look, I have to say, I am really lucky because, like, it's my son who has 2 kids. I'll probably get a bit emotional on this. To see your son be the best father role model is probably my greatest gift. To see my son being the best dad to a daughter and to a little boy is just incredible. So I just sit and watch in awe, and I don't say anything because it's, you know, he's got the most beautiful partner, and I literally go, my job is done. My job is done, because if I did something for these kids was to make them feel comfortable to be their own person and be relaxed and be a good role model for their kids. So, yeah, I feel like I can walk away and just go tick. Yeah.
Oh, that's bloody lovely. Yeah. We don't hear happy stories like that very often, especially on this podcast, because I mainly interview comedians.
Sorry.
No, it's really beautiful. What kind of grandma do you grow up?
Gigi.
What kind of Gigi do you think?
Fun Gigi.
Yeah, fun Gigi.
Because I don't bake. I used to sew, but I can't be bothered anymore. So, like, when they were being born, like, someone's friend's mother was knitting and the other one was baking, and I went, so I'll just sing? I'll just, so I'll be performer Gigi.
I think fun Gigi performer fulfills in the Venn diagram. I think it's very similar to gay uncle, which I just found out. I just found this out the other day. Gay uncles have a day in the calendar. Like, there's Trans Day of Visibility, there's all this, and then there's Gay Uncle's Day.
Oh, that's just too much.
Too much. I agree.
Come on.
What do you get your gunkle?
What do you get your gunkle? Maybe a different name than gunkle.
Come on, gunkle.
Gunkle sounds awful.
Gunkle sounds like it's like a one step on from a cankle.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Can I wear these clam diggers, or can you see my gunkles?
Can I wear these clam diggers? I feel like as a gunkle, I have a little snapshot or a little kind of bird's eye view of what parenting is like from a very small perspective, because sometimes they trust me with the kids. My niece and nephew love me because they've met their mum, and she's lovely. She's fantastic, and she's got a mean left hook, so you're lovely.
Is gunkle, that's just an uncle who is gay?
Yeah.
Because there's not like a gay aunt. Like,
Well, we can make it.
A lant?
A gunt?
A gunt. Gunty Zoe.
Feb 17th, the day of the gunt. That's fantastic. I cannot tell you how much being a gay uncle has reinforced my never wanting any kids in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One person just applauded very quietly just then.
Are you also?
We found our audience.
Yeah, right. The best part about being a gay kind of sibling to a family with kids is being able to give them back, preferably full of sugar.
Yeah, imagine that's the same as being a Gigi.
A Gigi,
that you're like,
and a gunkle. It's all the same thing. Just give them back. And
Yeah.
they just like little tantrums. They won't fall asleep. Oh, they're not falling asleep.
Also, you're
Or
sort
they
of
keep asking me the same question, and I've answered it.
It's also like your neutral territory in that role as well. So any feuds that are going on or arguments or tantrums, you just go, oh yeah, your mum's terrible, isn't she? Come to me, I love you more.
Exactly. I'll override all their boundaries and rules, and they'll have to fix them.
Exactly. My grandmother was outrageously bad at boundaries, to the point where she would say things to me like, I don't like this new woman your father has. She take him from me. And I was like 8. And I was like, okay, Nana. But her fridge was full of like Yogo and choc wedges. And she wore like see-through caftans and all of her jewellery at once. So I was like, you're fabulous. Whatever you say goes. Give me that good num-num.
This makes so much more sense.
Well, she came from like peasant Russia, and then she had a 1-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor of an apartment block, but in her mind she was the Crown Princess Anastasia.
Amazing.
It's like, I have actual window. So it was amazing. She was incredible.
I love denial. It's wonderful. You get so much out of it.
It's great. Hey, how do you feel about kids? I'm about to say, do you want? I'm like, I don't want to ask you that question.
Do you want to do this with me?
Yeah. Can we? Never.
They would be so pretty, but so unhinged. They'd be just like running around butt naked all the time going, I'm Anastasia.
Is that a child or a meerkat? It's both.
Do I want kids? It's weird. I do, but I feel like I'm too unhinged to make that work. Like, I'm not well in the head, and then I feel like putting a kid on top of that, I'm like, that's too much. But I am going to be I use she, they pronouns, and like the gender neutral term for like an auntie and uncle is pibbling, which is awful.
That's no.
But I'm going with pibby, and I'm going to become a pibby.
A pibby's nice.
So I feel like I'm gonna be able to. I love smelling babies.
Of all of the different. Okay. I started speaking, and then I heard that sentence. And I don't know whether we gloss over it or we go, I'm going back to it.
I love smelling them.
And
if there's a baby here, does anyone have a baby for me to smell? Here? Because I need my hit.
What are you smelling for?
They smell so delicious.
Okay, delicious is also not the word you use.
They do. You smell that, baby. You smell that, but yes!
They have the baby smell.
You smell that baby head.
We're not talking pooey nappies. We're talking baby smell. Fresh.
Yeah.
I don't even
Fresh
care about
one.
this. The nappy smell.
A fresh one is also
Fresh
a
one.
very triggering phrase.
And especially when they smell like skin, like a very fresh kind of skinny type of skin and milk.
This all just feels like a cannibalism podcast now, doesn't
but
it?
especially
How do you prepare it?
But how delicious would a human baby be, actually? Like,
yeah.
especially if they're fresh out of the oven.
I'm a vegan, but if I was gonna
And given the overpopulation of the planet, it really is the most sustainable form of veal we have.
And that's just Barbie going off the bunk
Yeah,
with
it's
Ribena.
Barbie going off the bunker.
amazing.
Yeah.
You
Would
know,
have loved
slow
this.
cooker. Like, come on.
It
like,
falls off the bar.
Yeah, it'd be amazing, incredible.
I'm so sorry that this is the one that you're filming on your phone.
Like a death row meal. Come on, babe. Like you're already on death row.
They've got to prepare whatever you ask for.
Yes, they have to.
It's their moral duty.
Okay, my stomach is churning. I can't laugh. I can't laugh. La, 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 la.
Okay, first, the other thing is, I meant to do this before because I've never had the opportunity to do this with a live audience. And podcasts now, which started as an audio format, and that's what we kind of thought it was going to be, but now they're a visual format, which is great.
Oh, you shut up. You love it, visual format.
What do you mean?
Oh, I hate to be seen.
Well, considering we had to help you pick the outfit, you had 2 choices.
So
hates it.
I hate it. The other outfit, by the way, was completely see-through. And it would have been, and Shaynna's first question was, Reuben, in that outfit, will you be sitting down? And what's the angle of the chair? And that's why we've got this.
Reuben, I hate to be seen, Kate. Yeah.
It's on my tombstone, which will be huge.
And glass.
And see-through.
And see-through. Yeah, I have a see-through, like, what is it? It's the
Like a
tombstone's here.
Vita? Like.
What do you mean, like? Yes.
Oh, sorry.
As. Now, what I do have is pictures of you as kids. Would we like to see pictures of our little guests as kids? As little kids? Okay. Who do we think this one here is? With the little pigtails. Who? Put your hand up who it is.
It's not natural, idiots! I tricked all of you.
Look, how old are you here?
I'm 4. I started school when I was 4.
Is this like your Mormon child marriage?
No, I went to Catholic school, so kinda. But That's my beautiful big brother, Alex, Buzzy James, and that's me. And that's when we would stay with my great aunt like twice a week, and she had this beautiful garden, and so every day it was the only time my hair ever got done for school, and so I always felt so pretty, so beautiful.
You look like Lily Tomlin.
Who's that?
Get off this stage right now.
What?
Who's that?
Get off. I've never
my
rejected
God.
a guest.
Okay.
No, don't go. I love you. You do look like Lily Tomlin here.
Who's
Yeah.
Lily Tomlin?
She's a iconic. You should know who she is. She's
An actual admonishment.
iconic comedian, actress. She's Lily Tomlin.
She's
Google it.
She's in the movie 9
Jane
to 5.
Fonda's best friend.
Will and
Don't-
Grace. Have you seen, not Will and Grace? No, what is it?
Frankie and Grace.
Frankie.
Which has your name in
It's
it.
me, Frankie. Yeah. I know that.
You
yeah.
are Frankie.
Thank you. Thank you for that compliment.
I also
You look like her.
okay, first off, I wanted to kind of like have this as like nice cards all presented neatly like it was on the Tonight Show. And look what you have. The production values here are astonishing. Who do we think this handsome child is? Who do we think? Reuben, you think that's me? I don't show up in photos. I don't. It goes straight through me. That is, hands up, who this is? Hey.
It's me.
Oh my God. You look already genderqueer in this photo as a toddler.
Yeah, that's me. And I'm quite pleased with my haircut there as well. You can see I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm into it.
but it's the haircut of a Nationals MP.
Yeah, that's what that's what I asked for, and yeah, she did a good job. It was, I had like blonde, like very blonde hair and a bob, and actually there's another photo which was my school photo from the year before, and it's like a before and after gender transition. It's great. But this is the thing, like my parents were very sort of, I was like, I want to cut my hair like this. I was like, yeah, fine. Like it was very sort of, in the way that they were sort of strict about discipline type of things, they were all, and behaviour, but they were also like, be who you want to be. And I really did push the boundaries with that as well.
I kind of feel like a lot of parents of people our generation, and maybe even the generation younger, have a softer style of parenting like that, where it is more behavioural focused and less about who you are. And I was having a chat to another gay guy who's older, and he was saying, I can't take it anymore. People can just dye their hair blue and say they're queer now and no one bats an eyelid. And I'm like, yes, that's what we all fought for. And it's sort of this nice moment of hope where we go, this parenting style or this cultural shift is actually working, because the children growing up now, or kids now, they really are growing up like, a friend of mine has a kid who's 12, like doesn't even see gender, doesn't even respond to it. Most of them all non-binary, and they just go, we won't even worry about that. What a lovely thing.
Yeah, but there is a part, even because the world has changed as well, like that being a queer person is like a valid human adult identity, right? So, but even I remember like growing up as well, that sort of like, even though I was very lucky with my parents, it was still hard, right? It was still like a difficult sort of thing. So I think there is this kind of weird sort of jealousy that us adult queers get when you look at like someone and you're like, you're 12 years old saying you're queer. Good on you, but I don't.
There's grief in there that there's
weird.
unprocessed and comes out as like envious rage or something,
Yeah.
or doubt. And now the last one, I mean, you won't have to guess. We all know that this one is Shaynna. But, I tried to get this larger, but I absolutely failed. But don't worry. Who's this little haunted Victorian doll? This is, can I say, there's some details here which I'm going to try and pull out. The camera can maybe get this. The perfect white dress, but the blood red shoes are chilling.
It was the beginning of my Valentino stage.
It's kind of
Valentino.
It's camp. It's camp.
That's the little girl who used to float down the hallways of the windmill.
I did that too.
Yeah.
Did you and your twin come out of a lift in a film by Kubrick? This
It is a bit haunting, isn't it?
It is. What I liked, who's this here?
That's my dad.
That's your dad. I think it's so funny. The Shaynna was saying, I couldn't find a picture of me and my dad, but I could find a picture of me in the shadow of my dad. And I'm like, that is all of our childhoods. That is always... These are so beautiful. We're coming to the end of Come to Daddy, but I have one little... We've got 2 minutes left, but can I go over? Who's next? No. Oh, it's Michelle Bracer, and she has a gun. So it's in her vocal cords. Here at Come to Daddy, we give our guests a pick and mix of things to choose from. Different topics meant to instill different stories. And you've each picked 2, but because of the time limits we've chatted, we'll choose one. Do you think you can do that?
Yeah, great.
Which one of you picked Frankie off the bat?
I don't know. I can't remember what they are.
Oh, I'll tell you. So the first one is, Daddy, Daddy, look, I'm doing a dive. Ways you've tried over the years to get your parents' attention. The next one.
I shaved my head in year 7, and I just did it. And I was a little chunky monkey, and I shaved my head, and I said everything's fine. And then I said it was to raise money for the Cancer Council. In post. I did the shave first, and then I was like, now give me money.
So it's just begging.
Yeah. I would just go around the school and I'd be like, hello, this has happened. Please help me justify why so my mum can stop being concerned.
What was your parents' reaction? What was mum's reaction?
Oh, it was just, what have you done? Francis Mary, why have you ever...
Francis Mary
McNair, the most Catholic Scottish name in the world.
As a Jew, I thought I had guilt. That name has guilt.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal work.
Thank you, and I'm sorry.
It's a... Shaynna, have you got one of these? Do you remember? So there's Daddy, Daddy, look, I'm doing a dive, the ways you've tried to get your parents' attention. Praise you like they should. An achievement you wish your parents had praised you for that they never have. Family hellholes, holiday stories. My favourite, it's so unfair. Something that they did, a call they made that you still feel was the wrong call. Or parental advisory. The best or worst bit of advice they've ever given you?
Look, I think the one that something they did that I wish they didn't do. So it was like, me talking too much at school, and we had a parent-teacher night, and he was the school teacher, and he was his first year of teaching, and I was obnoxious, and because he couldn't control it, so I was always in trouble, and we just didn't get along, and so my dad came to parent-teacher, and my dad made us shake hands and become friends.
Oh.
I hated him. I had to shake hands with my teacher. And then my teacher was awkward, then I was awkward. And so the next day, I think the next week, we'd look at each other and go, almost like, are you all right? Are you all right?
Yeah.
And so we had this common ground of like, that was awkward, but we don't know what to do. And so I didn't speak anymore because I was too ashamed and embarrassed. He didn't pick on me because he's going, oh God, I don't want her dad to come again. So I suppose it diffused it, but it was weird.
Can you also imagine as a teacher having a parent of a student come in and go, now you shake my daughter's hand?
Yes.
That's
my dad was the peacekeeper, so he thought he was doing the right thing. But this was this guy's first year of teaching. He had to shake hands with an obnoxious girl.
On the first year of teaching is rough. Yeah. We locked our first year, her first year of teaching us, we locked her out of the classroom, and she sat down with her back against the door and cried.
Aww.
Which is rough. But then she became fabulous. I made a whole documentary about my school, a fake documentary with my mates, ripping into all the teachers. We stalked the teachers around the school, and we filmed my teacher smoking 2 cigarettes at once in her car at lunch. It's great. I can't teach Jane Austen to another 16-year-old. Shoot me in the face. And she let us edit it on her computer. Nuts. Zoes.
Okay, I have a story that combines both of the stories of yours, which is I shaved my head when I was in like year 10. But what I did first was I shaved it and I left like a mohawk and it was really long, like it was down to my waist, and then I shaved it and left this grubby mohawk and then a rat's tail that went down to my back.
Yes!
And then I just showed up at my dad's office because I thought it would be funny. And he came in. My dad's a solicitor, and I walked into his office and he was like, so we've got to get you out of here. You're gonna, you look like one of my clients. Like, I've got to... And he didn't know how to deal with it. And then I shaved the rest of the mohawk off and everything, but we took photos and things. But I shaved it like properly to the skin, like with a razor. And so then I had all cuts all over the back of my head as well. It was pretty wild.
Rough. That's
it
real
was
rough.
And then once I'd shaved it, then the next night was school presentation night, and and I had like got top of some class or something. I had an award that I had to pick up, and they our year advisor was like calling out the names on the thing and called out Zoe Coombs Marr, and then I started walking out with my shiny scabby head, and he sort of looked at me and kept saying my name. He was like, Zoe Coombs Marr, Zoe, and he didn't recognise me until I got quite close to me, and then he went, oh shit, into the microphone. And and this is where your story comes in, that my year advisor, then my younger sister ended up marrying his son. So now I have like Christmases and things with my school year advisor, who's like a real person in my life, he's great. Hello, Roscoe, if you're listening. But yeah, it's really weird having like an adult relationship with your teacher.
I never want to see my
school.
teacher.
Yeah.
Plus, I found out recently that my primary school teachers, because they come to my shows now, they all have a WhatsApp group, like survivors of Reuben K.
And
then,
you love that.
I fucking love it. Also, when I went to speak to the kids at Assembly, because they saw the shows, come and speak to the kids at Assembly. So I got up, it wasn't in drag, and I said to the kids, if there are any class clowns here, put your hands up. You are so special. And if people tell you to shut up, just know that you have something in you that no one else has, and that you will be okay. And the teachers are going, don't fucking say that. And then as we left, walked out, because my primary school was right across the road from where I lived, as a blah, 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 thank you for doing this, it was lovely. Oh, and this is like the little, this is your old classroom. Oh, this is where I hit my head on the little steps and had to get stitches and this. And then just afterwards, oh, and that's the slide where when I was 18, I lost my virginity on. Bye. And walked out of my primary school. Hey, we've got one last bit before we go, because I'm getting the wrap-up signal. It's called Shall I Be Mother? And this is where you get to look into my eyes and speak from the heart as if you were speaking to one or both of your parents. Shaynna, what would you say to your parents now?
Well, it was a shock to them when I became a mother because we weren't married. So I never had a chance to say, do I want to be a mother? I was pregnant. And then it's like, oh, shit, I'm going to be a mum. So I would say to people, if they're questioning it too much, if you want to have kids in the future, just have kids. Don't question it so much. I think if you feel like you've got parts of you that you don't think you'd cope with kids, you never know what you can achieve until you're put in that position. And to me, to my parents, should I become a mother, I think I became the best version of me because I became a mother. So it isn't anything to fear. Just put it out there. Little shits.
You said something else to me when we were talking prior to this. I was like, what advice would you give to people who are going to have kids? Yeah. And the phrase you used, which is always let your home be a soft place to fall, which I really love.
It just means that, because I grew up always knowing that I was loved no matter what. I could just, be at the toaster and rant and rave and no one would talk to me, but I always knew I was loved. But it just meant that no matter what you did, no matter what F-up you did or how much hurt you had or, you went through a divorce and you're a single mum, you were always welcome home. And so that was with my kids, that no matter what they went through, that you can always come home, and if you don't want to talk, you want to scream, you cry, not a problem. You just lock yourself in your room and we'll have a cup of tea later and talk about it. So it's just safety.
That's lovely.
And good interior design.
Absolutely. With good cushions to fall on.
Soft space.
Frankie, if you could look at your mum right now, what would you say to her?
I think I'd say I had a really rough teenhood, and mum would always go to her GP and say, what do I do? And the GP was always like mid-20s, I don't know what else to tell you, mid-20s, it will stop and she'll be okay. And I tell my mum that I'm okay now. We did it. You did such a good job. Thank you so much.
That's beautiful.
More rag, more rag, more rag.
Zoe?
Can I borrow some money? And preferably not borrow, but just have.
And that has become to Daddy at the Malthouse. I love it. Please thank my amazing guests, Shaynna Blaze, Zoe Coombs Marr, and Frankie McNair. Thank you. Thank you. I'll see you at the bar. It's open, and so am I. I've been Reuben Kay.